Greetings, everyone. Jen the Curious Cloud here. First of all, I apologize for sucking on a throat lozenge. I've been coughing all day today, so I'm going to try not to cough my way through this video. Today, I want to do a VR. It's not exactly a VR directly to Queercorn Y over at On the Cusp Tarot, but it is kind of in response to his most recent video. He posted an apology on his channel for using the term spirit animal in one of his videos, and he said that he was watching a couple of the VRs to his Rapid Fire on the Cusp video, in which he used the term spirit animal, and there were a couple of channels that brought to his attention that that term is a sensitive term, and he named my channel as being one of them. And so I wanted to, based on some of the comments that I was reading on his channel, on that video, I wanted to kind of do a video just to sort of explain my perspective. I probably should have gone back and rewatched my video to see exactly what I said, but I don't remember, because in my response to the rapid fire questions, I know when I got to that question, I said I don't really like to use that term, and first of all, I just want to say I really, really respect the hell out of Y for once that was brought to his attention, he did his own research. He happened to have some Native American friends, asked them like, hey, all this kind of stuff. When he found out that he was doing something that could be considered inappropriate, he apologized. He set forth, this is what I'm going to do in the future. I think that is amazing, and absolutely the kind of thing we should all be doing. So, why? I just want to say that you are an awesome person. But some of the comments that I saw, I'm so sorry. I'm like all itchy, and I hate allergies. I hate them. Anyway, some of the comments that I saw on the video were along the lines of, well, there was kind of two types of comments that I wanted to respond to. One was along the lines of, you didn't mean anything by it, therefore it's okay. So I guess I'll respond to that one first. And I think there's a difference between, I think, just because you didn't know that an action, and I'm saying you, and this is just like a metaphorical you, why, I promise I'm not talking to you. But I think that just because a person does not know that they're doing something wrong, that doesn't make the action no longer wrong. It's still not an okay thing to do, but I mean, if you didn't know that you were doing something wrong, you can't be blamed for that, really. It doesn't make you a bad person for doing it because you didn't understand that it was wrong. But once you do know that it's wrong, I think we have a responsibility to then address that and correct our actions going forward. And if you don't do that, then yes, that reflects on your character, in my opinion. That is not what Y did. He found out he was doing something that could be considered wrong, and he addressed the issue and fixed his behavior, and that's what I think we should do. But I guess it's maybe semantics, and maybe that's all it is, but it doesn't mean the action is okay. It doesn't mean that, no offense was intended, and that intent certainly matters, but It doesn't mean offense wasn't given, if that makes sense. The other thing, and kind of I don't know, I don't want to say disturbing because it's not really the word I'm going for, but the more, I don't know, concerning response that I saw was along the lines of people disagreeing with the fact that the term was offensive to begin with. Or, I don't even want to say offensive, I want to say maybe disrespectful. Or using the term outside of its intended context. And I really kind of have an issue with that, because I feel like, in general, as part of a majority culture, I guess, it's not our place to decide what other cultures are allowed to feel. And I mean, really, that kind of applies to anything. It's not my place to decide how any other person is allowed to feel. So that and I think specifically with issues surrounding Native, and maybe this is because I grew up in America. I'm an American. And there are a lot of racial issues over here that are very different from the racial issues that exist in other places and other countries. So maybe it's partly a cultural thing. Of course, I don't know the what's the word I'm looking for? Countries of origin, I guess, of everybody who commented, but with this specific instance with Native American cultures, we have taken, when I say we, I mean historically white people have taken everything. I mean, everything from them. We took their land. We took their language. They weren't allowed to speak their languages for a long time, to the point that a lot of their languages are dying out. They were not allowed to practice their religion. We took their children away from them, forced them to wear, Western clothes, forced them to take Western names. We took everything from them. And no, that's not my fault as a white person. I mean, I wasn't around back then. I wasn't the one who did it. But I do feel like it is my responsibility to, I'm not sure exactly how to put this right, but I wasn't the one who did any of that stuff, but I do benefit from what happened back then. The fact that I'm a white person in America today means that I benefit from the subjugation that happened in the past. And again, that's not my fault. I can't do anything about that. But it is my responsibility to act to mitigate that as much as I can, maybe. I mean, if I just continue to benefit from that, knowing that I'm abusing that privilege, that doesn't say something very nice about me. And so when I am told by members of that culture that there is a term that is a sacred term to them, and that should not be used willy-nilly by people outside of the culture, I'm not going to take that from them if I have a choice in the matter, if that makes sense. And I should have written down an outline before I did this video, but I did not. I'm so sorry. I don't know. I think a lot of times people can get defensive about being told that their actions or their words or whatever are, I don't want to say inappropriate, but, you know, maybe are disrespectful or something like that, because they think you're blaming them. And that's not it at all. It's just, I don't know. Not really sure how to make the point I'm trying to make, like, without sounding like I'm calling people out, which is so not what I'm trying to do. I just think it's important to, I'm dropping things. It's important to listen to people when they say, you know, especially when it is a sacred, when you're talking about, and not even just this in general, but when you're talking about, like, you know, sacred terminology or stuff like that, and it's, you know, it might not be something we understand, and just to say that, you know, well, I don't get it, therefore there's no problem, or I didn't mean anything by it, therefore there's no problem. Well, no, there's still a problem, and we don't have to understand it. We just have to respect it. At least that's where I'm coming from. And I do think there is a very fine line between cultural appropriation and appreciation. And I don't know where that line is. I know, you know, some people will only work with, if they work with deities, they will only work with deities from their own personal heritage. So for me personally, my ancestry is entirely European. I'm as pasty white as you can come. Mostly French, German, and British. And so according to that frame of looking at things, those are the deities that I would have available to me to work with. Other people will work with any deity. It doesn't matter to them who, you know, what culture it's from or anything like that. I don't know in that particular instance if there's a right or a wrong. I don't think there is a right or a wrong. I personally, I do work with Ganesha. I did kind of struggle with that when I first started working with him, because I wasn't sure if I had the right, because I'm not Indian, I'm not Hindu, and I did have the thought that, you know, does working with somebody outside of that religion's context, is that disrespectful? Not that I mean to be disrespectful, obviously. I did my own work with that and, you know, came up with my own answers, and some people would say that was, regardless. And I respect that. I don't know what the right answer is in that particular instance. But yeah, I think we have to be careful when it comes to appreciating things from another culture. Something that we don't necessarily see as a big deal might be a very big deal to them. And that's valid. And I think when you're not from the perspective of somebody that it's a very different perspective when you're in a culture that has been constantly oppressed or derided or any of that kind of stuff, and you're used to people constantly taking things from you. It's a different perspective. And when you see, something else is just the next thing that's being taken, I can understand how that would get to someone. I don't know. I think I'm just sort of rambling in circles now. I really should have made an outline. But anyway, excuse me. What I really wanted to say was just that I guess we should be respectful of other cultures and listen to them when they say that something isn't right, when it has to do with their culture. So anyway, with regards to the term spirit animal, I guess, I don't know if, I've not really done any work with my spirit guides to figure out who's who. So I just don't see any reason to use different terminology. I mean, my spirit guides are my spirit guides. Regardless of if they're animals, peoples, whatever, peoples, or, anything like that. So maybe animal guides or spirit guide, I don't really know. What term I would use once I start working with them. I guess I'll figure that out as I go along. But anyway, I guess I don't really know how to wrap this up, but those are my thoughts on the matter. I apologize for my ramblings and for my constant coughing. But yeah, anyway, this was not, I also want to say, I'm going to echo what Simon said in one of his recent videos, is that, this comes from a place of love. I am not trying to call anybody out. I'm not trying to pass judgment on anybody. I'm just trying to share my thoughts on the matter. So I hope everybody has a very good evening, and yeah, peace and love, everybody. Bye.